Hello everyone, and welcome to this lecture where we're going to discuss the built-in function zip, which basically makes an iterator that aggregates elements from two or more iterables. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how this works. Just to give you a quick note, zip, you could actually write it yourself. This is what the function is equal to, so if you want to explore if you had to make your own function that was similar to zip, this is how you would do it. What we're going to do is actually just go ahead and see it in action first, because I think it's best explained through example. So let's say you had two lists. We're going to make one list called x, 1, 2, 3, and another called y, 1, 2, let's make it different. Let's say 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you have these two lists, x and y. And now what we're going to do is use zip to essentially zip them together. So I'm going to say x, comma, y. And the output is going to be basically tuples, pairs of tuple, or pairs inside a tuple, excuse me, and a whole list of them. So let's go ahead and see an example of how we would use this. So what we're going to do now is create two more lists. A, which let's say is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and B, which is going to not be sequential. It's going to say 2, 2, let's put in 10, 1, 1. Let's make sure they match up. Okay. So we could use zip to pick the largest between both of these. So what I mean by that is, let's say we only wanted to return a list that included the largest in each index. So between A and B, the first largest at the 0 index would be from B. The second largest would be from A, etc. So there's actually lots of ways to do this, but we're going to use it with zip. So let's go ahead and see how that would work. So I could say something like this. I could say for pair in zip of A, B, return the max of that pair. And let's see what we get. Oops, I have return outside a function. I need to put that in a function. Or I can just say, let's say print. And let's bring that back in. Okay, so what did I do here? Instead of writing a whole function, just a quick for loop. So I went through each pair in the zip for these guys, which would have looked something like this. Let's go ahead and copy and paste this so we know what we're looking at. So it went ahead, saw each pair, and returned the max from that tuple. So let's go ahead and do this now using map, since we learned about it earlier. So I could say map with a lambda expression. For every pair we want to return, let's say, the max of that pair, and go through zip AB. Let's see if that works. And notice now we have the exact same result, but as a list. So this should really show you how powerful zip can be. Now something you might be wondering is, what if one iterable is longer than the other? So let's say I have one list that says 1, 2, 3, and another list that's much longer. Let's say it's equal to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what happens if I zip these two guys together now? Well, what happens is you're defined by the shortest iterable. So you can only go as far as the shortest iterable in that zip function. Okay, so what happens if we try to zip together dictionaries? So we've done lists, but let's go ahead and explore dictionaries. So I'm going to make two dictionaries. One with a key A with a value 1, one with a key B with a value 2, a dictionary D2, key C, value 4, key D, value 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and zip these and see what happens. Alright, so you notice we only get the keys, and that's because simply iterating through a dictionary, if you remember, will only give you the keys. So if I say for I in D1, print I. Remember from the dictionaries lectures, we only get that key back out. So what if I want to get the values? Well, if you're using Python 2, you can use iter values, or if you're using Python 3, you can just use values. So I could do something like this. Let's say D2, and let's say I want the values from D1, so I can say iter values, and there we go. All right, so that's a couple of methods we can use to mix keys and values. So what we're going to finally do is use zip to switch the keys and values of two dictionaries. So let's go ahead and make a function to do that. So I'm going to call this function switcheroo. And what it does, it takes in D1, D2, it takes in two dictionaries. I'm going to define an object called dout as an empty dictionary. That will be the dictionary it returns. So I'm going to say return dout. And so how do we want to build this? So I want to say, let's say for D1 key and D2 val in zip the first dictionary keys and the second dictionary's values, iter values. And what I'm going to do is say dout D1 key has the value from D2 val. And whoops, that should have been an equal sign. And now let's go ahead and see what happens when we say switcheroo. So remember, D1 looks like that, D2 looks like that. And if I call switcheroo on D1, D2, then I've switched the values from dictionary 1 with the values from dictionary 2. Okay, great. So hopefully you've seen how zip can save a lot of typing in a lot of situations, and you should have a good understanding of how to read zip and how to use it. So remember, zip is pretty simple. You just take two iterables and basically zip them up together in tuple pairs. All right, and one last note is if one iterable is shorter than the other, you're defined by the shorter iterable. So feel free to play around with zip. It's going to be a great tool to have as you code more in Python. Okay, everyone, I'll see you at the next lecture.